Welcome back. You're still watching the breakfast show. President Sisi met on Wednesday with the Irish President Michael Higgins, commencing his official visit to the Republic of Ireland, the last leg of his European tour that also included the Denmark and the Norway. During the meeting between the two presidents, President Sisi stressed the need to continue strengthening the relations between Egypt and Ireland in all areas of the common interest. And to shed more light on this, we are joined over the phone with Dr. Hassan Wagih, the professor of the political science. Good morning, Dr. Hassan.
Good morning.
What are the primary goals of the tour, and where they centered around the economic partnerships and the political alliances?
Yeah, we can see that there are several dimensions for this European tour by the President. Dimension number one is to seek stronger relations with these key European countries, enhancing the economic cooperation, sharing them the ideas regarding the Middle East and what is happening, building up the consensus. The Egyptian diplomacy has been building up a consensus to recognize two states, to de-escalate the situation in the Middle East, to bring some calm and stability for people, for sustainable development rather than escalating the conflict over there. So I think, and Egypt already hosted with the UN before the visit about 100 delegates from all over the world for that reason, building up consensus for peaceful coexistence, for more economic cooperation, for what would be inducing to cooperation and stability.
Yes, Doctor, how do these visits align with Egypt's broader foreign policy strategy?
Yes, as I've said, Egypt is very keen when it comes to the targets of Egyptian diplomacy. Egypt is a role country, and from the perspective from its role, what is happening is very important to enhance good relations with key European countries. And of course, when it comes to economy, Egypt is trying to offer what can serve for investment. The infrastructure in Egypt is ready to receive more in the foreign investment, and this is why the President's tour is to promote that dimension, of course.
Yes, concerning the trade and the economic relations, what are the most significant economic agreements or the projects announced during the visit?
Actually, the most important thing from this European visit, first of all, it's historic because this is the first time an Egyptian president visits these countries. Despite the fact that we have decades of good relationship. So the target of the President is also to raise the level of cooperation from ordinary cooperation to strategic cooperation. And these key countries have good economy, have good attitude toward the Palestinian issue and to stability in the Middle East at large. So that is very important for the President to be there for such a historic visit.
Okay, Doctor, how can strengthening the ties with the European economies can help Egypt domestic development, particularly in the sectors like the renewable energy, tourism and infrastructure?
Yes, there is very good compatible policy orientation between Egypt and these countries and the European countries at large when it comes to using renewable energy, green hydrogen, new technologies when it comes to meet the challenges of the climate problem. The climate problem is huge and it is really engulfing a lot of resources. Also, when it comes to the economic part, You know, Egypt is hosting about 15 million people displaced from their own homeland. So also this is an international responsibility. It shouldn't be only Egypt's responsibility. So all of these files are there to be open for the entire world community. It's a world thing.
Well, Doctor, also the international relations. How do these visits reflect Egypt's role as a regional leader in the Middle East and Africa, in your point of view?
Yes, of course, and from COP27 in Egypt, held in Egypt, from all these conferences that were held in Egypt, Egypt is considered to be not a role country among the neighboring Arab countries, but Egypt is also a very important gate for economy, African economy. The African economy is a place where all the world is looking at, and I think that if we look at how to invest in Africa, you have to look at the gate. The gate is Egypt. So Egypt is promoting also the economic prosperity, not only for its own home, but for Africans also. And this is, of course, should be coupled with diplomatic efforts to establish peace agreements to enhance stability in this very important continent that could be the basket for the food of the entire world.
Yes, Doctor, also in what the ways has President Sisi emphasized that Egypt's stance on international issues such as the Russian-Ukrainian conflict on the global climate change? How do you see this?
Yes, of course, the Russian-Ukrainian war has very negative impact on not only on climate, but on logistics, on prosperity of the world, on many deals that came to a stop because of that war. And I think that everyone who is keen about peace and the tranquility of the world must have a say to stop this war, among other wars, of course, in our areas. Our areas is full of sources of conflict which should be dealt with from the roots of it, because the conflicts are very connected. We are all living in a grand village. So I think that globalization and the globalism has created that situation that we became world citizens. We care about all what can make de-escalation of conflicts, settlements, stability, sustainable development. These are the words that we are supposed to carry out, and I think Egypt is taking the burden of that. And I think that many fair-minded people in the world is recognizing this great role played by Egypt and the Egyptian diplomacy. Egypt is exerting what we call strategic patience and containment, and it doesn't want to be provoked into other conflicts in this very inflamed area in the world. So I think the historic visit of the president to these key countries are enhancing that role very much, inshallah.
Yes, Doctor, also the security and the regional stability. What security-related discussions took place during the tour? Were the topics like the migration, counter-terrorism, or the regional conflicts?
Yes, of course, Egypt has been playing a very important role in fighting terrorism. And when it comes to fighting terrorism, we have two dimensions Egypt is trying to stress. It is physical terrorism, as we can see it, and in what way this could be faced by all countries, but also in terms of psychological mood of the people, in terms of in what way you can enhance educational and the media activities that would help in preventing Islamophobia, extremism, fanaticism, dogmatism of any sort, because this is the root of creating violence after a while. So when it comes to the role of Egypt, Egypt through its institutions are building up a great deal of literature and a great deal of effort and a great deal of diplomatic moves to bring about a much more deeper understanding of how the world should cooperate to fight terrorism in all its dimensions. It's not one dimension. And Egypt is very keen about addressing the multi-level of that fight.
Yes, sure. Doctor, also the visit has also tackled the cultural and the social dimensions. How does Egypt plan to use its historical and cultural connections to deepen the relations with the European countries?
Yeah, when it comes to Egypt, Egypt history is very honored in these countries. These countries study Egyptian history. All civilization, the great civilization that has remnants till now, and people are visiting Egypt. And by the way, the president directed invitations for the officials in these three countries to witness the inauguration of the grand museum that will be inaugurated very soon, inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay, and the strategic outcomes. From your point of view, how does this tour fit into Egypt's Vision 2030 development agenda?
Yes, the most important thing is that Egypt is trying through all these visits and through a lot of diplomatic efforts to create in the world an attitude of having a win-win mentality, to stop the zero-sum mentality that is being there, adopted by other people, adopted by other partners and actors in the world. And I think this is the great debate in the world arena, that win-win is far more better for everyone rather than insisting on having this zero-sum mentality.
Okay, also, Doctor, what the long-term impacts can we expect from these visits on Egypt's global standing?
Yes, I think that what we expect, more investment, of course, in the Egyptian economy. Egypt is opening the door for those who would like to invest. Egypt has already made a lot of reforms when it comes to facilitating the job of any investor, and with new legislation and facilitating a lot of issues. So I think what I expect and what everyone is expecting influx of investment into the Egyptian economy.
Yes, sure. Like any other visits, there is challenges and criticism. What challenges did President Sisi face during these visits, especially in addressing the critical European concerns like the human rights or the governance reforms?
Yes, human rights is a very big issue, and it is dispersed in all the organizations of the United Nations. And I think that nobody in the world, including, of course, Egypt, is not keen about upgrading the level of human rights level. And by the way, I'd like to tell you something very interesting about this, is that we have now in the United Nations a debate about cyber crimes, when it comes to the internet and the social media associated with that, a lot of cyber crime. Now, for several years, people are not able to produce, despite the fact that it's very easy. When you say cyber crimes like slander, libel, phishing, many crimes, that we have to stop it. But again, the entire world is not able to agree on what is that because of one term, human rights. In what way you can consider insinuation is different from expression of your opinion. I think that if you go back to the debates regarding the cybercrime treaty, and you can find a lot of problems when it comes to how people may agree or disagree on some of the issues. There is a cross-cultural communication challenge when it comes to human rights and other concepts. And I think that it's very important. Dialogue is very important, and this is what Egypt is keen to do.
Yes, sure. Do you think the tour effectively balanced Egypt's national interests with the international expectations?
I beg your pardon, I couldn't hear that.
Sorry? Do you think...
Could you
yes,
repeat
sure.
that,
Do you think the tour effectively balanced Egypt's national interests with the international expectations in general?
Yes, of course. A lot of countries all over the world expect that Egypt would have the torch of freedom, the torch of strategic patience, the torch of de-escalation, the torch of building consensus for a win-win situation in the entire world.
Yes, Doctor, how will the outcomes of these visits enhance Egypt's domestic policies and development programs in general, finally?
Of course, all these visits by the President and all the efforts by diplomats and all efforts inside and outside is very needed to enhance the economic stance, because when it comes to politics, we have a coin. One side of it is economy, and the other one is politics. So we are supposed to be interconnected, and we are supposed to exert all our efforts to enrich both sides.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Hassan Wagih, the professor of the political science, for joining us on Nile TV International. And it's now time for our daily sports review with the major events in the world of sports. Let's see.